Hi.
Hello guys, if you're brand new to my channel, my name is Nikki and this is my book nook. Apparently we have a little special guest joining us today. This is my cat Draco. He normally wants nothing to do with this, but he's sat back there and I don't think he's gonna be moving for a while, so enjoy this extra little cuteness behind me. Oh my gosh. Okay, so today we are talking about Serenading Heartbreak by Ella Fields. I have had this book on my TBR for quite a while now, but I just had a feeling I needed to be in a certain mood to read it. I mean, literally, hence the title. It has heartbreak in it. I knew that it was not gonna be the easiest read. I knew it was probably gonna require like a lot of my attention, a lot of emotion, just a lot of thought, and it certainly did. This book was wild. I'll give you guys like a spoiler-free synopsis, but I absolutely have to get some thoughts out about this book afterwards. So I will say at a certain point, like, spoilers are coming, leave if you haven't read it yet, but yeah, let's just talk about this baby. So this book follows a girl named Stevie. She is a part of a family that is big into music. Her brother's name is Hendrix. She's named after Stevie Nicks. She's the only person in the family that doesn't have a musical bone in her body, but everybody in her family is really into music. And her brother Hendrix plays the guitar. He's always been really talented in that department. The story basically starts out and Stevie is a young teenager in high school and this new boy has just moved in next door. His name is Everett and he sort of comes over to the house and she meets him, and him and Hendrix quickly become really close friends. They kind of bond over their love of music. Everett doesn't know that much about it, but he picks up really quickly. He is playing on Hendrix's guitar and they end up becoming best friends, and they decide to start a band with a couple of other guys. So it's so hard to call her Stevie because Everett calls her Clover. Whenever they first meet, she's really into like with the flowers and stuff. She's really into gardening. So she like gets up off the ground and he tells her like, you have a clover on your butt. So he calls her Clover the whole story. So I keep like, every time I start to say Stevie, I'm like, that doesn't sound right. But Stevie and Everett kind of like, they end up spending a lot of time together. Everett, he does not come from a good household. He lives just down the street from them, but you can tell like their house is not in a good place. You can hear his parents fighting a lot of the times. A lot of times Everett ends up kind of sneaking into Stevie and Hendrix's house to sleep on the floor because his parents have locked him out. Like, it's just not a good situation going on over there at all. So the first like 100 pages or so of this book is Stevie, Everett, Hendrix when they're young. We kind of see Stevie and Everett's relationship kind of grow, their bond grow. Stevie was definitely kind of like enamored by Everett from the beginning, but obviously like this is her brother's best friend. She's not allowed to think those things, and it takes a while, but as can be expected, their relationship kind of does come to a head right at the inconvenient time that the band is kind of taking off and they're kind of getting some traction, and the guys have decided that they want to try to do this full out. So they're about to graduate from high school and they want to go out on tour. They found an old bus, they fixed it up, and they're gonna go and tour the country with their band. And it sucks because obviously Stevie has these feelings for Everett, he has these feelings for her, but like this is his dream. She can't hold him back from his dreams, so he's gonna go out on tour and they'll kind of see what happens. Nobody knows that they have anything going on between them, but some time kind of goes by and Stevie, you know, is grown up, she's going to college, and she's still just not quite over Everett, and she, right at this perfect timing, ends up running into this guy, Aiden Prince. And Aiden just, I totally understood Everett, and I get like that first love feeling, like brother's best friend, he's spending a lot of time at your house. Like Everett definitely had some lines, some moments where like, I totally understand like how she fell in love with Everett. I get how he still has his claws in her, but like Aiden shows up and Aiden is like the dream. Like he is the guy that every girl, like if she had a checklist of like the perfect guy, it's just like check, 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 check. He's a smooth talker, he's tall, he's handsome, he plays on the football team, he's about to get drafted any second, he's really popular among the campus, has a lot of great friends, like is really great with parents. Like he is just like the perfect guy. And so he falls for Stevie, she falls for him very quickly, and even though things with them are going great, she kind of can't shake Everett. And of course, as to be expected, Everett kind of shows back up in this story. While he's been out on the road, he's had some tough times, he's become a bit of a heavy drinker, and the entire story from there on out is just kind of like a back and forth. It's this love triangle that takes place between Stevie, Everett, and Aiden. And this book was, I could not put it down because I just had to know what happened. Like every chapter, it's just like, there were so many kind of like cliffhangers and like what's gonna happen next. Like I found myself so invested in the story, but at the same time, I just wanted to punch every character in this book at one point or another. It was so incredibly frustrating. It was a great story. Like I gave it 4 stars. It is a love triangle, and one of the only love triangles that I've ever read that I felt was like really well done in the way that like I just had absolutely no idea who she was gonna go with. Like up until the last handful of pages, I'm like, who is she gonna pick? Like this is just so all over the place, and like there's definite things about both of the guys that I can understand her seeing something in, and it was just a roller coaster, and so many things happened that I didn't expect to happen. And it just, the way it starts out is a really like wholesome, like, oh, we're young and we're in high school, and then you see how like as you grow, like things don't become as easy. People have different goals, different dreams, different things they want to do, and like timing just isn't always perfect, and having to make decisions and realize that not any relationship or any person is going to be perfect. It was wild. I would definitely recommend this book, but I will just say like it's gonna require some of your emotional energy. It's a lot. This is going to have to be the point where if you haven't read this book yet and you don't want spoilers, you're gonna have to leave, because I need to talk about this. Okay, like I said, whenever Everett showed up, I totally get it. I get that first love feeling. I get why she fell for him. But there was always something about Everett, because, you know, he's come from this rough background. He's a very broken guy. I could see red flags from the beginning, even just in some of the things he said to Stevie, some of the ways he talked to her. I'm like, I don't feel like this guy is going to be a great guy. And then the few things that I didn't like about him, Aiden showed up and I was just like, Aiden. Like, I get it. Everett's in a band. He's hot. He's your first love. But like, Aiden was just such a perfect freaking specimen. And he treated Stevie so well, like was there for her through absolutely everything. I mean, up until we find out that she's literally pregnant with Everett's freaking kid, and he's still willing to sit by her side. I mean, I did love the way that he was so willing to kind of sacrifice his dreams, the way that he kind of like left the football team after he'd been drafted for a while so that he could look after Stevie. That was one thing. Like I said, I wanted to punch every character in this book at some point. Like Aiden was such a great guy, but I'm just like, dude, what are you doing for this girl that's like clearly not giving you her entire heart at any point during this book? I mean, Everett just consistently like leaving and being all over the place and not being able to make a decision. Wanted to punch him for sure, especially towards the end. He just kept mistake after mistake, and I had the smallest threshold. I can't handle that much. Like, just get your shit together, you know? I can't put up with this. It's just too much of a headache. It shouldn't be this difficult. Just like, do you want to be with me or don't you? But Stevie as a character herself, like, I try not to harp on the girl heroines, main characters of the story, but like, oh my God, there were so many things about her that I'm just like, you're like a walking contradiction. You're a freaking hypocrite. Like, you expect so much of both of these guys while at the same time not giving either of them your full self because you're over here in love with another guy. And like, I found it so frustrating that I get she wanted Everett. I get she wanted him to stay with her, but like, I didn't understand why there was never a discussion of like her going with him. I mean, it didn't seem to me like Stevie was doing any type of like schooling or career that really required her to be in a certain place, where like both of these guys in her lives, their entire careers are traveling. Everett is in a band traveling, and Aiden is a football player that's like traveling around playing games. You're just like in school. Like, if you really loved either of these guys enough and you're wanting so much from them, I'm like, why was there never an offer of like, I'll go with you and finish schooling online if you're that serious about this? And it seemed like she was, and I'm just like, a little bit selfish to me, I don't know. And just there was so much back and forth, even like down to Hendrix. I wanted to slap Hendrix. Hendrix was just a jerk. I mean, he's her brother, and I get brother and sisterly like arguments, butting heads, but like the way that he reacted to her and Everett being together, I'm sure it'd be hard. I'm sure it'd be hard to see your little sister being with this guy that you know is a drunk, an asshole. But the way that like, even after she was no longer with him, he continued to like pick at her about it, the way that he brought it up at a holiday dinner in front of her new boyfriend, it's like, are you serious, dude? Like, grow up. Like, I mean, you're gonna hold that over her head forever? Like, she literally stopped being with him and she's with Aiden now. Anyways, as you can tell, I was team Aiden in this story. I was here for the Everett tension. I was here for the back and forth. I was here for the love triangle, but I'm just like, if this girl doesn't pick Aiden, I'm gonna have to smack her over the head. And then right about that time that I'm saying that, she gets freaking pregnant with Everett's kid. And I'm just like, my biggest fear in life, that's a bit dramatic, but like, I have such a fear of like having a child with someone that I don't want to be with. I don't know why I have that fear. My parents are perfectly together and happy, but just, I think it's just a general commitment thing. Like, I just get so stressed about like long-term commitment for life. Like, that just makes my throat like close up, even though I want it. It's a weird thing. That could be an entire other video that I won't talk about now. But just the fact that it's like, Aiden is the guy you need to choose, and then you freaking are having this child with Everett. So I get it. It's like, okay, you want to be with the father of your kid. I get it. But stop talking to Aiden. Leave him alone. Let him be. Stop stringing him along. And then I was so sure when it came down to the wire, I'm like, okay, she's going to pick Aiden. Like, which I felt in my heart was the right choice. And then she freaking didn't. And I had a lot of feelings, clearly. This story, like I said, I gave it a 4-star because I could not put it down. I read this book in one day, but I wouldn't say I particularly, what is English? Enjoyed it, because I was just so frustrated with every character. I don't know. Y'all tell me what you thought of this book. I definitely thought the writing was great. I'm totally interested in reading other titles by Ella Fields. I mean, that just shows you it was a good story if I'm like this heated and pent up about it. Like, I finished it so late last night and I almost sat down and filmed it looking like a literal rat because I just had to rant about it. But yeah, I think I got everything out I wanted to say. Y'all tell me what you thought. That's it. I will talk to you guys very soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.